This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, welcome to Asia Training Solutions. So, in our previous session, we had that understanding what are all the content that we are going to cover as part of this entire journey. So, we pretty much got that understanding. Okay, these are the topics we are going to learn, these are the capabilities that are available with App Dynamics, like that. We had that understanding. So today, pretty much we are going to start our actual content. Okay, we are going to start our content, get that understanding. Okay, what for we are actually going to use this tool, like that. We are going to discuss today. Okay, so just a minute. Am I audible, guys? Hello,
Yes, you're audible.
but my screen got frozen for me.
Screen unable to visible.
We are
Oh,
unable to view your screen, but you're audible.
I shared my screen right now. Actually, guys, I mean. The GoToMeeting version, no, looks like these days. Last week they updated their UI. Okay, after that, nowadays I'm saying um, it is really slow in loading things. Okay, the component, even if you click that mic option, it is spinning and then only it is muting or unmuting, things are happening. And it is also, you look at here, maybe this GoToMeeting, look at here. It is individually covering 40 percentage of my CPU. Individually, GoToMeeting itself covering 45 to 50 percentage of the CPU. I don't know what's happening. Okay, we'll come back. So now we are going to start our topic pretty much. Yeah. So first topic is actually what are APM tools. Okay. So guys, pretty much from today we are starting the actual course content, because in the previous session we gave the introduction and today we are going to have that understanding of this Dynamics tool. So please focus. Like any questions, you stop me at any point of time and ask your questions. Okay. Don't keep anything with you like I will ask this guy later or something like that. No, any point of time, if you really require any clarifications to be done, straight away stop me and then we'll complete it and then we'll move on. There is no urgency. Okay, I hope everybody understands it. So what are APM tools? APM tools, application performance monitoring. Okay, it was actually application performance monitoring, but nowadays the way these tools are actually growing, you can call that as application performance management tool also. Okay, APM means application performance monitoring or application performance management tools. Okay, because it is not only doing your application level performance monitoring. Okay, it is not only doing application level performance monitoring, there are recovery actions are also happening in these APM tools nowadays. Okay, say like triggering a HTTP request or triggering thread dump or triggering mail, like that. It is trying to manage certain things, not only monitor data, it is trying to manage certain things. That's the reason we are calling that as application performance management tools also in certain instances. Okay, why it is actually getting that kind of a visibility in the market now? APM tools, why it is actually getting that kind of a visibility in the market? Because single tool you are using it for multiple activities. Single tool you are using it for multiple activities. That too, you do not require a core technical knowledge and all. You should not be strong in Java, strong in .NET, strong in Node.js, like that. There is no technical dependencies there. A fundamental understanding of your performance concepts is more than sufficient to use this tool. Okay, say like you think like this, like if you are trying to measure your front end metrics. Okay, am I audible, guys, for everybody?
Yeah, yes, you are
Yeah,
audible.
Tejasri, I think you need to check from your end, Tejasri. So no problem. So in order to do the client side performance metric collection, you need to use this tools like web page test, GP metrics, or Lighthouse, or Wislow, page speed insight. Like that, lot of tools are available in the market. You have to use that too. Or if you want to, Tejasri, am I audible right now, Tejasri? Am I audible for you?
Yes, now it is you are audible.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Thank you. So for database related things, you need to have different DB monitoring tool or DB profiling tool, like that. You need to use it. Similarly for network related or similarly for application related, each and everywhere. I mean, profiling tool you have to use or static monitoring tool you have to use, like that. Lot of dependencies are there. Okay, but here in APM tool, all in one, you can do application monitoring, you can do front end monitoring, you can do database monitoring, you can do infrastructure monitoring. Everything can be done in a single common place. That's the best benefit of this APM tools. And that also, you are going to get a very easy understanding, because all these tools are designed in a user friendly manner. So you can read and understand what is happening in each and every layer and try to understand the problem statement. So that is the reason APM tools are becoming very familiar in the market now, because all in one, full stack, full stack monitoring. Okay, full stack monitoring, which means that every layer you can do the monitoring, every layer you can do the monitoring. That is the best part. So that is the best part. And as I mentioned, this front end monitoring, right, this client side monitoring, that is also the main and major reason for people are preferring to use APM tools. Okay, because your PT tools are actually not giving that, right? Your performance testing tools are not giving your client side monitoring data. Okay, um, uh, those who are working in load runner in this forum, those who are working in load runner, you guys, anybody observed this behavior? Like you are unable to get the client side metric in load runner or JMeter or NeoLoad or performance center. Anybody observed this before?
Yeah, no, sir.
Your or else I'll ask the question like this: your performance testing tools are capable enough to capture client side metric?
No.
No, right?
Yeah, that will
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
this is
You
needed.
have to integrate with some other utility, like in our case, we integrate Neoload with Selenium, and then we can view some of the metrics, the page load time. Yeah.
Oh, in your organization, you are doing the Selenium integration with the Neoload.
Yes. Yeah. So when we run performance test, we run the Selenium scripts as well, and then we can view the client-side metrics in the Neoload. There's a feature in Neoload where you can integrate, and then you can.
Okay. Okay. Then. So why I asked this question, because the performance testers, those who are 4 years experienced or 5 years experienced performance testers, still having that understanding, load runner or JMeter or Neoload is actually giving a end-to-end response time. They are still thinking like that. These tools are actually giving you a end-to-end response time. Actually, not. Okay, it's not providing end-to-end response time. It is only providing server-level response time, because it is not having the capability to simulate the client-side behavior. Simulate the client-side behavior. Okay, I hope you understand what is the simulation of a client-side behavior. So typically, if you are asking me, like if I go to, this is Isha website. Okay, this is Isha website. So what will I do? There is an image available, right? This Isha, make it easy. Okay, right clicking, copy image address, and then I'll paste it in the browser. This is a URL for a particular image. Okay, you now think about it. Like in your load testing tool, also your URLs are actually captured like this only. In your load testing tool, also URLs will be captured like this only. Okay, so say like you recorded and then you are trying to replay this in your performance testing tool. What will happen? What is happening here? What is happening here? Anybody can comment on this?
No, it's not retrieving anything from the server, right? It's just the page load. So this is not being recorded using your performance simulation.
One exact match means like
No,
this one
no,
only, right?
I did not ask in that way. Uh, if I hit that URL, the content is loading where? Center of the page. Okay, but actually in real world, where it was, where I copied, left corner, correct or not? So what I'm trying to say here, your performance testing tools are not having the intelligence to say this image where has to be pasted, how it has to be rendered, in what size it has to be pasted, rendered. All those intelligence and all your performance testing tools are not having. So even though if you are having the assumption that your load testing tools are capturing these metric, yes, it is capturing, but it is not simulating the browser behavior. You able to understand, Madhuri?
It
Yeah,
will be converted into update the exact match
Yeah.
and update the
So
record.
that is a meaning. That is a meaning. You are though you have the assumption that performance testing tools are actually capturing your metric. I mean, capturing this URL, but it is not the real simulation of the browser behavior. It is still, you need to use any other tools to simulate the behavior. Client side behavior, you have to simulate it in a separate tool. Not using this PT tool, it is not that easily possible. Okay, so that is also one of the reason people are preferring to use this APM tools. Okay, so what are APM tools means, we know it is a monitoring tool, but monitoring across the layer by layer, you are going to monitor the tool, monitor the server. And then why we are actually going for it, because a lot of capabilities are there. Client side monitoring capability is there, even this alerting mechanism is there, and baselining mechanism is there. So lot of capabilities are there with APM tools, so that you can use those features to minimize your work, manual effort. To minimize your manual effort, you can use the capability of these tools. Okay, because all these years what we are doing certain manual effort, and which is taking longer time. and sometimes accuracy is not that clear as well. But when you are using this tool, you can quickly complete it. Accuracy also will be reliable. So that's the reason everybody is actually moving towards these APM tools, application performance monitoring tools. So all these APMs, how it is actually working, not only at Dynamics. In every APM tools, how it is actually working. So every APM tool is what they are doing. They are having a concept called agents, a small piece of software. Agents will be running in different ways. Say like you wanted to monitor Java server. Yes, you install one agent over there, and then you wanted to monitor MySQL DB. Yes, there also one agent should be installed. You wanted to monitor the user experience behavior. Yes, you have to install one agent, one particular agent. So like that, each and every place you need to configure a particular agent, and it will collect the data, send the data back to the controller. Okay, the main controller. So which means that all the APM tools, how it is actually working, it is working in the concept of agents. Each agent will be running into the respective places, and it will collect the data, send it back to you. So that concept is also available in AppDynamics. Here also you have Java agent, .NET agent, Perl agent, Python agent, Node.js agent, like that. There are separate agents that are available. And each and every agent you are going to install it into the respective server, and the data would be collected, and then you will be doing the monitoring and all. Clear? Everybody clear with this? Yeah. So now we have the clarity. Okay, what for we are using this APM tool, and we wanted to achieve what are all the things using this APM tool, like that we have the certain understanding. Okay, the application performance monitoring tool or application performance management tool, why we are actually using in our application stack. That is what the understanding till now we have. I'll take a pause here. Anybody have any question till now? You can ask. Okay. So I'll close this. Why APM tools are required to be learned by performance testers? Actually, this is everybody's mindset. Okay, performance testers only should learn this, like that. Everybody is talking, but in my view, everybody can learn this. Everybody can learn this. Along even performance tester can learn this, but everybody can learn this. Okay, so if I say like developers, developers, developers when they are actually doing unit testing. Okay, most of the time, one thing they are not at all doing unit testing, or they are not properly doing unit testing. Okay, so both the things are there because of the timeline pressure. Okay, so like agile based organization, what is actually happening in agile based organization? You have very minimum sprint cycle time, so that you cannot focus on all these different things and all. Okay, so in that case, what you can do, the infrastructure where your app dynamics is already running, in that infrastructure, if you are trying to in that if you are trying to do a unit testing, it is little easy to identify a resource level problem, response level problem, exception, error. All those things can be easily identified by the developer who don't really wanted to do lot of activities. Instead, the infrastructure where your application performance monitor is actually running, in that infrastructure, if you are trying to do the unit testing, you will have a little time consumption will be there. So, what is that meaning? even developer can use this. Developer can use this because during the unit testing phase, they can use this application to do the monitoring to make sure everything is working fine. Clear? Any question till now?
So here while doing the unit testing, so that dev environment instance also already configured into AppD. I'm correct. So monitoring purpose they
Realistically,
also able to.
realistically, it is not happening, Murahari. Okay.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
seeing there are two things are there. One is most of the organization what they are doing, they are thinking that why do we want to invest a lot of money because of that they are getting only the license in the prod environment alone. Okay.
Mhm.
But there are organizations recently to whom I interacted with. What they are saying looks like Appdynamics provided QA environment free license, prod environment only they purchase the license it seems. So which means that in that case it is fine. I mean there are instances if you are getting free and then there are instances if it is paid. So that is fine. In that case you can do it in the QA environment itself. So ultimately where you have license, in which environment you have license, that particular environment you can configure all these things and then provide the information. Clear?
Yeah, clear, clear. Thanks.
Yeah. Sure. So now developer I told you, right? Developer when they are doing the unit testing, they can use this tool like that I told, right? Performance testers. Performance testers, what they are doing, say like there are two variety of applications are there, right? One is new application, another one is existing application. Okay, existing application means what? The application is already running in production. That is the existing application, right? So now you consider like this. Existing application, at least you have some logs available in production so that you can take the logs and then do the analysis and understand how many users came in or what activity that they did like that you can do the investigation. Okay, but if it is in the case of new application, if it is in the case of new application, what will happen? You do not have any data because that is a new application. In that case, what you guys will do? Anybody can say. If it is a new application, what will you do? If it is a new application, you have to do certain assumptions. You have to do certain assumptions. You need to talk to the business analyst, architects, consultants, stakeholders. With those people, you should have a discussion and come to a conclusion, or you are come to an assumption. These are the number of users we are going to use. These are the transactions that we are going to perform. Like that, you can come to a conclusion. I mean assumption. Okay. So what will you do if it is a brand new application? Anyways, you are going to come to an assumption to do this kind of an execution. So which means that whenever you are doing a load testing execution, what you can do, you can go and do the monitoring of your infrastructure, and then come to a conclusion whether the load that you triggered is actually proper or not, because you did assumption. You did assumptions. Sometimes the traffic will be going correct or traffic will be going wrong as well. So in order to avoid such and such problem, you can do the monitoring. You can do the app dynamics monitoring. Okay, that is the beauty of this tool. Okay. So I mean, whenever you are trying to do performance testing activity, whether it is a new applications or existing application, at least you have some data in production, so that you will take it and then identify concurrent user transaction per second like that. You can do it. If it is a new application, you are going to assume certain things. Okay, the assumption may be right or assumption may be wrong. How to validate the assumption is right and assumption is wrong means you will go and validate the metrics in AppDynamics, and end of the report you will be saying everything is actually good or bad. Okay, everybody clear? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, next one is performance engineers. The performance engineers every time what they will do, they will try to optimize things. They will try to fine tune certain things. Infrastructure level they will fine tune certain things. Code level they will try to fine tune certain things. Database level they are trying to find certain things. Okay. So, so for performance engineer, these APM tools are wonderful source of information because every information is actually available. Application level, yes. Database level, yes. User experience level, yes. Infrastructure level, yes. All the bit of information that are available so that it is easy for you to do the investigation. You can do the further investigation. So, performance engineers can also use this APM tool. Performance engineers can also use this APM tools. And then system support engineers. Give me a second. Yeah. Currently, what system support engineers are actually doing, they'll sit and observe what is happening in the machine. Okay, they'll observe what is happening in the machine. They'll see to that which server is actually facing a problem. They'll raise a ticket to level 1 ticket, level 2 ticket, level 3 ticket, like that. They'll create a okay, they'll create ticket assigned to respective team, get it done, and then they'll recheck whether the application is actually working or not, like that. System support team is actually doing this kind of work, right? So instead of it, in AppDynamics tool, you have alerts and response, which means that you don't want to literally sit and observe what is happening in the server. If you configure properly CPU utilization metric, memory utilization metric, like that, it will automatically do the task. It will automatically do the task. You only need to interpret the information. That's the only thing you have to do it. Other than that, you do not require to do anything. Yes, for system support engineers also can learn this APM tool. So right now I mentioned developer can use it, performance tester can use it, performance engineers can use it, system support engineers can use it, provided what for activity is very very. Everybody clear with this understanding?
Yes.
Yeah. So this mindset, right? Why it has to be learned by performance tester? Yes, it is learned by performance tester, but it is not alone to be learned by the performance tester. Okay, I mean anybody and everybody can learn this tool, provided in what way they are going to use this tool is important. Right now, I told you application level monitoring, infrastructure level monitoring, database level monitoring, like that. I told you different examples, right? So we can use that. Okay, that way you will use this tool, use this capability for different work activities. Okay. So the next important topic is actually the dynamics introduction. So pretty much we had that understanding, like AppDynamics is a leading APM tool in the industry, quite a similar. It's a equal competitor for Dynatrace APM tool, maybe, because these two are now Datadog also came into the picture, but these tools are leaders. Gartner Quadrant leading APM tools in the industry. The APM and AppDynamics is also having a a technology-based agent configuration concept. I mean, if you wanted to monitor Java application separately, or if you wanted to monitor .NET agent, .NET application separately, okay, .NET application separately, Node.js application separately, like that. If you wanted to monitor things separately, you can install respective agents. Okay, so based on your need, you can purchase your license and then make use of it, which means that which technology or application is actually made of, that application technology you can procure and then you can use it. So that is the concept of this AppDynamics APM tool. But in the case of Dynatrace, the concept called one agent. The concept called one agent. Whatever the activity that you are doing, you need to install the software called one agent in every other place. Okay, but in the case of AppDynamics, it is a technology-oriented installation. Java being separated, like that, separately, you can do that. Everybody able to understand this? Yeah. So the next important topic is actually your AppDynamics SaaS versus on-premises. Okay. So there are two deployment models are available with AppDynamics. One is software as a service, which is a SaaS-based model, and then on-premises model. Okay, so retail-based customers, they will prefer to use this SaaS model because for them they will store lot of logs, lot of data will be there, 1 year data, 2 year data, like that. They will archive each and everything. Okay, so so for retail-based customer, they are preferring to use the SaaS-based model. Okay, they are preferring to use the SaaS-based model. But for banking customers and insurance customers, right? They are preferring to use the managed model, which is on-premises version, which is a on-premises version. Because your banking and insurance customers, they are little precautious, like their data should not go out, their data safety is very important, there should not be any data breach, like that. They always think about those activities only. So yes, the on-premises model will be used by the banking customers and insurance customers. Okay. But don't take it as a thumb rule and all. Retail-based customers will always be SaaS, and then banking and insurance customers will always be managed like that. No, not like that. But preference is more towards that. That is what
So we
I'm
are
trying to
banking
explain.
application and we are using SaaS model.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We should not go into the false assumption that whatever I mentioned preference, because there are banking legacy based banking applications, they'll have a little worry that their data is going out or what. But nowadays the private cloud concepts and all came into picture, right? So because of that, you do not really require to worry. But I'm saying preference is like that, but still organizations are changing their mindset as well. That is what I'm trying to explain. Clear, Madhuri?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also because why this preference is actually coming, because of the data storage, data archival, all those are reason. Okay. Because if you are going with the SaaS based model, you don't want to do anything. You pay money, you enjoy the service in SaaS model. But in the case of on-premises, we have to do everything. Each and everything we have to do. Okay, I mean data backup, data archival, like that, everything you have to do. Okay, so in that case, dedicated person is required for this. Okay, so that's the reason, whichever the customer they are procuring this kind of APM tool, they wanted to get this. Everybody clear with this? What is SaaS based model? What is on-premises model?
Yes, Ram.
Yeah. See, even when you are also in a position to select a tool, you need to look into like what is that usage. If it is storing a lot of data, a lot of things that are there, data backup, data archival kind of things are there, then say how we are going to use SaaS based or on premises that we need to decide. SaaS based means I'm not going to do anything. On premises means I am going to do everything. I have a separate team that is available so that I can do it. That is the understanding. Clear, guys? Everybody? Yeah. So, what is the difference? If you are asking me, the SaaS based, you are simply going to give the URL. I mean, once you are purchasing it, you are going to get the controller URL, and that is in that you are going to use the login credentials and then logging into the AppDynamics SaaS account. But in the case of managed version, we have to install the software called Enterprise Console. You have to go to the AppDynamics download page and then you have to download Enterprise Console based on your OS version. So you have to install that Enterprise Console, and while doing the configuration, it will ask you whether you wanted to set a demo instance or medium instance or small instance like that. It will ask you based on the selection that we are doing. It will install the AppDynamics and then it will provide you controller URL. At the end of the installation, it will provide you controller URL. So there are two important services, event service and then the controller services actually running. Okay. So what you have to do anytime if you wanted to launch this managed version of your AppDynamics, what you have to do first you have to launch the URL, make that instance to be running, and then you do your activity. Okay, that is how we have to do it. Anybody have any question?
So this on-premises URLs, so we able to install trial versions in our local.
No, actually they stopped providing that licenses nowadays, Murahari. Probably 5 to 6 months before they had it, but now they totally completely stopped that, because first what you have to do, you have to create that impression to them that you are a potential customer, and then they are providing that on-premises free license on a demand basis. Not over the internet. You cannot do anything. Clear?
Mhm. Yeah, yes, got it.
Yeah. So I'm just saying the procedure in which we are going to set it up the private instance. That's the only thing I wanted to cover. No question right till now. Shall we discuss about the next important topic? Okay, the next important topic is your application agent configuration. Very important topic. Application agent. Okay, application agent. It looks like you wanted to monitor a Java agent, .NET agent, Perl agent, Python agent, like that. Whatever you are trying to monitor, that is what your application agent is basically doing. Application agent is basically doing. Okay, so in that, what we are going to do, we are going to monitor a Java application monitoring, and then Node.js application monitoring. There are two application monitoring we will be doing. Okay, I'm going to explain you how to do that application monitoring. Don't worry. So, meaning that we are going to deploy that application, and then we are going to do all these kind of activities. Everybody clear with this client side performance metric? Yeah. So application Java application thing that we wanted to do, it means how you will be doing it. That is what we are going to get that understanding. Okay, because anyways, in our next session we will do things in a detailed way. But right now I wanted to provide you a context like. application monitoring is actually giving you a very detailed information about how your application is actually launched, what are all the information that are launched, like that you can see that information. Okay, so Java agent, you are going to run the Java agent, you are going to run your application, how the monitoring is actually happening, and then the data will be going back to your controller URL. Okay, so similar activity only managed version also, but you need to I mean start the controller and event services whenever you are before starting this activity. Okay, so I told you in our demo session also two different application configuration that we are going to do, but it is a tool, right? So it is maintaining a uniform structure. Okay, so this application monitoring, first of all, as I mentioned, we need to set up this application. So what you guys can do, you guys can download Apache Tomcat version 9. Okay, you download Apache Tomcat version 9. Okay, so means that you have the database is actually ready. Sorry, I mean your Apache Tomcat, you have to download it, so that on top of the server you can install your application. Okay, so first what I encourage you guys is that, like, go to internet and then type Apache Tomcat download community. Okay, and go to their official website and then download Tomcat 9. Okay, so what you guys can do, either you try to do this, guys. Okay, just for your understanding only I showed this. You guys will share your mail IDs in the group, so that I'll ask the team to provide those softwares, all the softwares to you. Okay, so this dump file we'll try to share it in the Google Drive as well, but you try to do it, simply you try to do it. Okay, simply you try to do it. So Apache Tomcat server, we will be getting it, and we are using it. Okay, so Apache Tomcat done, and then what you have to do, after downloading and extracting, what you can do, you can do the server start. Okay, what I can do, I can go here. So you need to go to the path where your application is there. So Apache Tomcat bin folder. So you need to go to the path. Okay, you went to the bin folder, and then we have to type like startup dot startup dot batch file. Okay, startup dot batch file, you have to use it. So if I click enter, what will happen? The server will start. Okay, the server will start. Okay, before to that, once you are downloading this Apache Tomcat, if you are trying to start this, if it is not working, the startup is not working, it may be the problem in your Java, whether your machine is having Java or what. That you have to check it. Okay, how to check that? Very simple. Java space hyphen version. If you are entering this, it has to show the version that is actually running. So you can see in my case 1.8.0.241 is actually the Java version that is actually available in my machine. So once you are starting the server, if it is not starting, which means that Java that is available in your machine, you need to validate it. You need to validate it. Everybody clear? Okay, so we downloaded Apache Tomcat. and we are checking our Java is actually available. If not, we have to download and install the Java JDK from Oracle. It is Oracle JDK. Oracle JDK you have to download and install. Okay. Apache Tomcat download. Then Oracle JDK that is Oracle JDK, then download and install. Okay. I asked you to verify the version as well. Okay. Java space hyphen version. You try to do it, download this activity, or else no problem. JDK also I will share it with you people. Okay, JDK also I will share it with you people. So Apache Tomcat done, your JDK done. So inside the conf folder, Apache Tomcat, inside the conf folder, there is a file name called tomcat underscore users. Okay, which is a XML file. Okay, tomcat user XML file. So tomcat user. If you scroll down, by default this line will not be there. Okay, by default this line will not be there. So right now we have to add this username tomcat, password tomcat, and role we have to add it. So this line item we have to add it in the add it in the tomcat user. Okay, say like what will I do? I'll share this file also, tomcat user file also. I will share it to you through the Google Drive. You guys can download, go to conf folder, replace this file. Okay, replace this file. Okay, go to conf folder, replace this file. Okay, so uh, your Oracle download is done, version validated, and then you can do tomcat user file replace. Okay, okay, done. So now what you can do, you can use startup dot batch file to start the server. It's startup dot batch file to start the server. Yes, we started already. We started already. So how to validate it is started properly or what? You can go here, localhost colon 8080. You type it and then click enter. So if you are having a proper startup that has happened, this page will come. This page will come. Okay, if you are properly starting everything, this particular page will come. Any question, guys? Still no?
No, sir.
Mm.
Yeah, sure. So with this, probably we'll wrap up for today's session. So we'll sync up tomorrow for further understanding in this application setup. Okay. So thanks everyone, and those who are really interested to proceed with this course journey, please reach out to Kumar sir. Okay. So this is Kumar sir number. I'll show you. This is Kumar sir number 80199 80199 So please reach out to Kumar sir if you wanted to proceed with this course journey. Okay, I pasted in the chat 80199 and those who are interested you can reach out to him. Okay, this is actually like weekday session. In this time slot we are going to continue the session, and then it is 13 plus sessions that are there, and then every day you will have a YouTube playlist URL will be shared those videos you will have a lifetime access. Okay. So those who are interested, please reach out to Kumar sir for any further information. Thanks for joining and have a nice day, guys.